Hey guys, welcome back for our final installment, and we've really made a lot of progress on this guy. Look at that, great, looks great. You can see the vines on there we put on last time, the base and the leaves, everything's really coming together, so looking great. One last thing I want to do with the base is I want to cover up the corrugation. So I'm going to use my glue gun and rim the circle, and then smush down the hot glue to go in the corrugation. And that'll do two things. That'll kind of strengthen it up a little bit more and hide that corrugation. So we'll just go all the way around, fill that in. Yep, there we go. Now I want to spray paint this guy flat black. So I've got my mask, a ventilator, and plenty of overspray protection. And I'll just start spraying him this flat black. I'm just using a cheap flat black. You don't have to get the fancy stuff. And just make sure you get some good coverage on there. So there we go. Now we'll paint the other side. Make sure you get everything covered. So yeah, there we go. Okay, he's dried up. Now I've got this little box here for protection while I paint. And what I want to do is I want to use a burnt umber, and I'm going to paint him, covers the whole thing with the burnt umber. So I pour it a lot in my lid there of the paint, which I use for kind of a palette dish, and I'll just start applying it. Now you don't want to do it too wet, or you don't want to do it too dry. If you do it too dry, then it's harder to get on. If you do it too wet, then you lose a lot of your pigmentation. So just kind of get a middle ground there. Just cover the whole thing with that burnt umber. Take a little bit of time. Make sure you want to get the base too. So a little extra to finish up. Alright, there we go. Now I'm going to paint him with some tan. He's still a little bit wet, but I just kind of want to blend this color in. So use a wide brush, wide bristly brush, and just start painting that on. Now my goal is not to cover up the other color. I'm just trying to mix a little bit and to get some color variation on this guy, right? Just go over all the branches and stuff. Alright, cool. Now I've got a coffee here, and I'm going to do the same thing. It's still a little wet. This is just a little bit of a lighter color. Putting a little bit less of this on than I did with the tan. See that detail starting to pop out really nice. Looking really good. Really looking like bark. Alright, there we go. Now let him dry up. I'm dancing, I'm dancing. Okay, we are back. He's all dried up. Now you use another brown, like a kind of, I think it's a moccasin brown. And I want to use a different brown on the base than I do on the guy, because it definitely shows up. You can definitely tell the difference from the different browns. So your eye can detect it. Now here I'm going to use another green. I'm not sure what the color is, just a medium green. And I'm going to paint that moss on there. So let that dry up. Okay, now I've got my coffee back. I'm going to pick out some highlights on this guy, so particularly the face. This will make the eyes and the mouth pop out more. Just add a little more on the guy itself. There you go. Okay, now I've got a couple more greens. And these I'm going to use for the leaves and the vines. Get that on my brush. Now I'll start painting the leaves. Got quite a few, so just go all around, paint both sides of the leaves. Alright, we're getting those filled in. You can paint the ends of some of the branches too. I did a little bit of the fingers also. And I'm using the lighter green. I'm gonna repaint the leaves again while they're wet. And this will give it a little bit of a color variation as opposed to just painting them the light green. Let's go through and get all those painted up. Paint a little bit of the top of the branches too. New growth. Alright, there we go. Looking great. Okay, now we got the same greens and we're going to do the vines on this guy. So I'm going to use the dark green first. Now I'm using kind of a chisel brush here. Just follow the vines up with the dark green. Can't see them very well, but I'm going to use the lighter green and go on top of that wet dark green so it'll kind of blend in, but give a highlight, almost like an instant highlight on the vines. And it's a little bright looking now, but it will dry a little darker. Most paints do. Okay, so I've got another green here. And this is a different green. I'm going to paint the base a little more. The moss on the base. Just fill all that in. Alright, looking great. Now here's a black, and I want to paint the crook in the mouth there, so I'll just follow it along with the small black brush or the small brush I have with the black on it there. Just follow the mouth, fill it in. Same with the eyes. They're kind of like black doll's eyes, so just paint those black. Fill it all in. Be careful. Really has some personality now. Look at that. Okay, now the black will dry like a flat, but I'm going to use a water-based gloss on the eyes. And you can see it's kind of milky right now, but it will dry clear. So I got that on the eyes. And I'm going to do the mouth also. So once I do that, we'll go out to the table and I'll show you what it looks like. He's so cute. Alright crafters, hopefully you have your very own little guy right now. And thanks so much for sticking with me through this tutorial. I know it was a long one, but I had a lot to show you. So let's get a little closer look at this guy. Bring him up close to the camera here. I think the detail on the face really came out great. The kind of watery round eyes, the little smiley mouth, and the fingers, the very delicate fingers, and the little leaves coming off. I think that's all some really great details. And the bark and the vines going up the bark. I think that just really looks fantastic. And then you can even see the little moss there from the shavings that we put in the pot. So I think I'm really happy with this guy. My wife really liked him when I gave it to her as a gift. And thanks for joining me for this tutorial. Take care and make your own.